Many men did not return from the last wave of attack. That was some days ago. Now we've been moved into the first trench, where we wait. We are side by side, propped up against the muddy walls, on pause until the next command. Our next order might be to charge at the enemy trench, same as the men before us and the men before that. We talk, we smoke, we clean our rifles. I carefully scratch small sections of it with my cloth, taking my time, intently inspecting every inch of my rifle. I lean forward, sticking my heels into the mud to prevent myself from sliding forward, and my calves are starting to ache. My gloves are wearing away at the fingertips and the cold nips at the thinning fabric. I think about my father. I picture him walking around his factory, proudly watching as the huge lengths of yarn appear. I can smell the oil and hear the muffled enthusiasm as he shouts information at me, attempting to be heard against the booming machinery. We had started training me up as a manager. My father wants me to take over one day. I left my happy and comfortable life to come here. It felt like the right thing to do, the honourable thing to do. The squad get a visit from the medic assistants who, meticulously, go through our hair with a comb. When one person gets lice, they spread so easily, and after a week of mind-crushing headaches and crawling itchiness, you welcome a trip to the delousing station, even if your treated bedding makes your eyes sting. We spend all of the daylight hours switching between crouching down and stretching upwards, looking over the top of the trench to study no man's land until the darkness blankets us. We gaze up at the night sky and point out patterns and constellations. I imagine my mother and sister side by side, holding hands, looking up at the same stars. A flare sails into the blackness, producing a small circle of light as it goes. An orange trail fizzes behind it. We all watch it intently and hold our breath as another goes up. In the distance, 2 pops of gunfire send their echo around the ether. They are quickly followed by more, louder this time. Closer, the anxiety sets in. Our sergeant appears, tapping each one of us on the shoulder. He presses his finger to his lips, then points to the left area of the trench and ushers us over there. He whispers that we have to go, we must follow him over the top, to look for German patrols. We gaze at him, knowing what this means. I swallow. It feels dry and sore as I contemplate how I'm going to keep myself hidden from German snipers. The team look around at one another. At daybreak, who are we going to lose? We're snapped out of our musing when the sergeant informs us that the time is now and we have to snap into action. Still crouching, he turns and wades towards the end of the trench. Once there, he crawls part of the way up the wall, flops against it, then turns to face us. He signals for 2 of us to go either side and the rest of us to follow him. I watch his legs disappear from view as he pulls himself up and over the top. I clamber after him, stomach flat on the wall. I press my elbows in and roll my forearms over one another, making my way upwards. I reach out, stretch my hands over the top. I grab at the ground and feel the scratch of the gravel on my palms as I pull myself over. I'm still on my knees, and as I raise my head, an enormous bang stems from the middle distance in front of me. A thumping of gunfire commences as I am knocked onto my back, my ears ringing. I slowly open my eyes and look down at my body. I cannot see any blood. I hear someone calling out in front of me in the dark. I pat my chest, stomach and legs. There are no injuries, no pain. I roll onto my front, then bound onto my feet as swiftly as I can. I have seconds before the gunfire reaches me. I run towards the yelling voice. My shins pull as my feet strike the uneven ground and rifle swings from side to side. I catch sight of traces of shrapnel, just visible as it cuts through the thin beams of light. My helmet shakes and the metal rattles in my ears. I hold on to it as I run, wavering, avoiding the bullets that rhythmically land alongside me. Debris from the ground fires upwards into the deadly mid-air. The smoke surrounds me, it obstructs my path, seeps up my nose. I can smell the heat as it burns its way through and down to my throat. An explosion sends shattering splinters in every direction, and I drop onto my stomach. My hands clench as I listen, waiting for the next blast. It comes, but is further away. I manage an outward breath before I dare open my eyes. I see the muddy boots of a wounded boy as his legs thrash around. He is clutching his middle, wincing and whimpering. Blood seeps in between his fingers and flows down his hands. He's lying on his back, straining his neck to look down at his wound. I crawl over and place myself at his side. I look at his injury, then at his face, which is drained of any colour. He looks me in the eyes, then plants his head back onto the ground. I fumble around through my pockets until I feel the soft, dissimilar texture of a bandage. As I pull it out and press it against his abdomen, the blood gushes onto the white cloth, saturating it like a letter drowning in the sea. He mutters calmly and steadily, repeating his words, whilst gazing up into the heavens. I turn my head and place my ear to his mouth. The whispers trickle out, inaudible but purposeful. They become slower and fainter. The final exhalation is so light and gentle it would get lost, even in the most tender summer breeze. As he draws his last breath, the gunfire, along with the shouting and pounding in the distance, stops. I slide down into the trench and hear the familiar squelch as I immerse ankle deep in the mud. My sergeant is sitting under an alcove of sacks, lighting a cigarette. He nods at me, then informs me that we'll regroup in the morning. I stagger back to the bunkhouse. The smell of the fresh blood and the sight of many men with their heads buried in their arms, crying for a friend they have just lost, keeps my walk slow and burdened. I feel the cold sweat running down as I remove my backpack, and my body seizes as I flop onto the cot. I close my eyes, attempting to process what has just happened, and I rub my hands. They need to stop shaking before I get anywhere close to falling asleep. When I awake, I will once again have put the events into the box, the forgotten place in my mind. I will adopt the mindset that's needed from me and wait for further instructions. Regrouping may mean we have an immediate duty to carry out, or it may not. We go out there, we lose people, but we come back and wait again. Until that day, the day when it becomes your turn to go over the top. No one resurfaces from that. In the fire trench, you do a lot of waiting and watching, trying to figure out the enemy's next move. The truth is that the Germans rarely change their position. Their tactic is to hold their ground. They defend and we attack. That's how it is. Eventually it's you who is ordered to join the charge at the enemy. You are the latest surge, one wave after another, going over the top, never coming back.